What's up, everyone? We're back with another round of astrology shots to get us through Cancer season 2024. So, we're kicking off Cancer season with the first of two full moons in Capricorn. That's right. Cancer season this year is bookended by two Capricorn full moons. This is what we call an astrological blue moon when we have two lunations taking place within the same time frame. So, let's go ahead and pull up that first chart. Happy solstice, full moon, everyone, wherever you are in the world, whether you're celebrating your summer solstice or you're celebrating your winter solstice. I hope you're enjoying the full moon visual at your solstice celebration. Like I said, we've got two Capricorn lunations to cover during Cancer season. This is our first, and the two charts look completely different. The only thing that kind of retains is the Cancer Capricorn polarity, which is all about security. And Cancer is kind of the sign that says, like, I need to have it, and I feel the most at home when I know things are safe and I know what to expect. But Capricorn is the sign that says, I'm going to go out and plan it. I'm going to get it done. I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to make a plan, work toward that. We're going to achieve the desire. We're going to achieve it one step at a time. So Capricorn energy highlights things like planning. It highlights the need to be like more practical and rooted in reason and logic. It's patient and it's also realistic. You know, the energy of Capricorn understands that, yeah, like some of those things are really nice ideas, but not all those are going to make sense. Not all those pieces are going to fit in the puzzle. So, yeah, we're thinking long term a lot with the Capricorn lunations. What we also see here is we see this full moon is going to be opposite Venus in Cancer. Now, Venus is kind of riding close to the sun, but Venus holds triplicity rulership in Cancer, which means we still get all the goodness of Venus in Cancer. She's protected there. So, this is kind of bringing in this theme of the importance of familiarity, the importance of leaning into those relationships that feel comforting and nurturing and familiar to us. You know, we're coming out of Gemini season, which is just like, yeah, let's hang out. Let's all of us hang out. And I want to hang out with you and I want to make plans with you. But Cancer season kind of reels it in and it says, like, okay, like these are my people. And I just kind of want to give my energy to the people who feel like my family. So there's something very familial here, something about maybe planning and thinking about the future in regards to the people and the connections and the rituals and the places that feel the most nourishing to us, the things that bring us joy that are also very nourishing for us. So, yeah, something I've just been thinking a lot about as we come into this full moon is how, you know, our rituals and routines that are centered around our joy are going to produce this long term support for us. When we think about support in its connection to Capricorn, it's a lot of times the things that source our truest experience of joy that do give us that kind of support, and that, you know, success can be measured in different wavelengths. It's when we veer away from our values and we live in contradiction to our soul that we begin to feel lost and unsupported. So I want us all to be thinking about, you know, how we define our success and how that can very much be defined by the rituals, routines, and people and places that make a life that we encounter on the regular. Now, this lunation is ruled by Saturn in Pisces, and I think collectively we're all experiencing a great deal of heaviness and collective tumultuousness with Saturn in Pisces. I often hear a lot of people say frequently, like on the internet, like, well, why didn't you guys care about this issue before? Why doesn't anyone care about these genocides and these different disputes, these international disputes? Why did no one care about this before? And I think the thing to remember is with like Saturn in Pisces is that Saturn in Pisces is really mirroring to us our tragic humanity and also how beautiful it is to be human when we do come together, when we do fight for what's important to us, when we go and be of service to our fellow humans. I think that the other way that I'm noticing Saturn and Pisces show up is that, Pisces is a dual sign. And so it's possible that we're all sharing the same collective grief and heaviness, but maybe a lot of us are sharing in that from a different angle because we're all having our own individual experiences. Like there's different layers of existence, right? Like there's the individual experience, there's the familial, there's the local, and then there's the national, and there's the global, and then there's the universal, right? And like there's just so many different layers that we're having our own different experiences. And so the way that we relate to the collective is always going to be different. And we saw this with COVID too, when we had the eclipses going on in Gemini and Pisces, and we saw just like the confusion from you know different people trying to make sense of what was going on in their own ways. And I think we're running into that a little bit now with the mutable Pisces. Is just the tension of people experiencing tragedy differently. And yes, obviously it's not that simple, but that's just one way that I'm noticing Saturn and Pisces show up, is it's pulling us to our knees as a human collective and saying, look at how messy and disturbing this is. Look at how awful this is. And it's activating our heart. It's also, Saturn shows us what's necessary. Like we can't just live in our own Saturn solitude worlds. Like Saturn and Pisces is saying we're all connected. This impacts life. Even if you want to live in a bubble, you're still going to be impacted by this. So it forces us to not be able to look away. So Saturn, what am I getting at with all this? Is that I think the weight of the collective right now is leading us to think more soundly about what we can do. How can we live a life that is meaningful and impactful? And I think when senseless tragedies are happening in the world, one of the things that we can do to cope with it is to lean on each other. And while it's fun to be connected in digital spaces with hundreds and thousands of people, where you are going to get holistic support is through maybe like the people who are within a phone call away or an arm's reach away or a drive in the car away. And that's what I think Venus in Cancer has to say here for us. Now we're going to be making some choices around this full moon. This full moon, the period around the full moon, like specifically on the full moon, we're going to see Mercury arrive at the bends of the lunar nodes. Soon after, shortly thereafter, we're going to see Venus arrive in a square with the lunar nodes. That's going to be on the 26th of June. And then just before the next new moon in Cancer, we're going to see the sun arrive at the bendings of the nodes on the 2nd of July. So this really imparts a period of big choices. We've seen Venus and Mercury out of bounds, which have pushed us to take our intellect to new levels, to take our relationships to new levels, to try new things, to push the boundaries. Now we're going to kind of be making some choices and bringing it back down to a point of integration. So notice what's coming up for you in terms of the choices in direction, the fork in the road around communication and knowledge, around maybe it's your connection with media, with Mercury. We got to make some choices here. And think, like, Mercury's going to square the nodes again. Like, this isn't a permanent forever choice, but, it can still be a big choice depending on what's going on in your chart. But Venus can be choices in relationships. And I know for many of us, that could be a big thing. That could be a big thing. That could be a little thing that has big ripple effects. So just know that we're going to be making choices in relationship dynamics here on the 26th. With the sun, that can be around personal expression. So that's always, we make choices every day on how we're going to show up, what we're going to wear, what we're going to say, how we're going to take a stand, or whatever it's going to be. So the sun in a square with the lunar nodes is giving us a choice in personal expression. That can also be decisions in leadership too. Like we might see these things show up on the world stage as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of decision making falling under the 2-week duration following this full moon in Capricorn, which is all about planning, thinking, thinking soundly, and having discernment, and weighing things out and thinking about, what's going to work and what's resonating and what's not. And so it's very appropriate that we do have these other planets saying, okay, it's time to make some choices here. But on the positive, in this first chunk of Cancer season, we've got a lot of planets coming into like harmonious relationship with one another. Not a lot of squares to report here at the front end of Cancer season. And one of those that we're going to see here is we're going to see Mercury come into a trine with Saturn, which is also really wonderful for clarity. That's also happening on the 26th. A lot of this clarity is going to be instinctual. It's in a water sign. It's going to be something that's felt. We're going to get a clear sense of something that's going to allow us to make a decision. Then we also have a really nice sextile between Venus and Mars. So that always tends to be supportive in relationships. Again, we've got like Mars who wants to kind of slow down in Taurus and needing to be a little bit more patient. And Venus in Cancer is very like nurturing. Let's find the vitamin that's missing and let's give that to ourselves or whatever it may be. And so this can really show up as feeling very supportive in relationships. I'm thinking like listening and showing up. So that's a little bit about this full moon in Capricorn. Like I said, we've got one other one this season, so definitely stay tuned for that. But for right now, this is your astrology shot of the day, and I'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks so much for tuning in with me today. For more astrology in your world, you can connect with me on all platforms at Astro Catherine. You can also head on over to my website, catherineurban.com, where you can book your next astrology reading. We'll go into depth into your natal chart, your progressions, your profections, your solar return, your transits, and beyond. You can also join my mailing list where you can stay up to date with me on new classes as well as article drops. I look forward to connecting with you, and I'll see you next time.